In this particular series, I want to show some takedowns or throws, because to teach a newaza tape without showing the actual throwing techniques or the takedown techniques, I think would be missing a lot, because a lot of the tapes out there today show the different movements from certain positions, such as if Rio's on his back, okay, and I'm attacking from this position, or if Rio's on his stomach here, okay, or say I'm on my back this way, and it shows you how to work, maybe what in jiu-jitsu passing the guard, or how to work him from this position here with sankaku, okay, but I think they're missing a key point, and that point is all fights or judo or jiu-jitsu, whatever martial art it is, all of them start from standing. Okay, so it's important to know how to take your opponent, control your opponent to the mat, and then how to get in the right position to submit your opponent. Okay, most of the international competitions in judo today, the biggest chance for a score is the transition from standing to bottom, because your opponent loses concentration, he's worried about getting thrown, and that's the time he opens up his guard, and that's the time you need to attack. Let's look at some of the throws in judo first, the different angles of the throws, and then what we're going to do is just go into them, slow them down a bit, and just look at the basic controlling positions of standing to grappling. Okay, those are some different angles. In judo, basically, we have forward throws where we're throwing our opponent forward. We have rear throws where we're attacking to the back. We have side throws where we hit a foot sweep here to the side. Different angles diagonally, this direction, okay, or back this direction. Okay, so there's many different angles of attacks, but the most important thing is, if we slow it down, as your opponent is going over, okay, slowly, as he's going over, I'm always controlling the pulling arm, what in Japanese they call the hikite, that's the pulling arm here. If I maintain control here, that means I have control of his body, and immediately I'm following up with either my knees, okay, or my whole body, okay, my body weight, to pin him to the mat, okay? Look at it again. If I was just to take Rio and throw him and let go here, okay, now there's too much space. He can get up and escape, okay? So as I'm throwing him, I'm thinking to follow into a grappling move. Okay, as I'm throwing here, right, he's going over, I keep this pressure here, I keep this pressure here, my knee immediately comes in, okay, then I can get the jujigatame, okay, or from here into osaikomi, into a pin. Same thing with the backward direction, okay, if I attack with an ouchigari here, as I come down to my opponent, all my weight centers here. I'm immediately thinking about passing the leg here, right, and coming up underneath, securing a collar grip. Okay, that's the first thing. If I was just to come in, throw him, let him go, he can turn and get up and escape. So the control of using the grip, okay, on the way down, and the mental strategy of me not just coming in for a throw, looking to end the match, but coming in for a throw, as he goes down, I'm looking to secure a grappling position. And from this position here, you know, I have many different options. The first technique I'd like to demonstrate is taotoshi, or it's a basic hand body drop. And what I'm going to do is demonstrate taotoshi into jujigatame, which is an armbar. Okay, to break it down in detail, basically this is the most important arm in any throw or in controlling your opponent to the ground. What you want to do is you want to pull your opponent so that he steps forward, okay? As he steps forward, basically I'm just going to replace this foot with this foot, step across, okay? And this is very important. Pull down to here. Once he goes to the ground, very important to pull up, and I take my knee right into his underarm right here. Okay, put the pressure here. This stops him from turning over here, turning in that direction. As I'm pulling up on the arm here, it stops him from turning into me. So for a split second, you have to control your opponent. Next, my knee is going to come over, foot across over the head. Okay, and I'm going to squeeze my knees together right away to get that, secure the arm, so we can't pull it out. And lastly, I roll back, keep my knees squeezed together, pinky down, and then just apply the arm bar here. Let's look at Taitoshi, again to the ground. This time I'm going to arm bar the opposite arm. Okay, in detail, once I get the opponent down on the ground, here, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure my knee again. This is the first thing you do, and you pull up, obviously. Okay, but a lot of times they'll come in, they'll switch their hips and come in so fast, right, that you don't have time and you're going to lose this arm here. So what you do is you just let it go. Let this arm go and scoop this arm here, okay? Your hands have to be straight, not with a fist, straight in here. Because sometimes this is going to be tight, right here. It's not always going to be that easy just to scoop it. Sometimes he's going to keep it down tight. He's going to turn, and you're going to have to shoot your hand through here. For a split second, I have my knee on his shoulder here. So that's stopping him, okay? Let's look at it over here, right here. That's stopping him from turning in. Okay? So I keep my knee here as I shoot my hand through here and then over into the Jujigatami. Let's look at, again, a little bit more detail. Again, my knees here pulling up. Now as he comes this way, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot my arm through. Okay? At this point here, really, what I'm doing now is I'm putting all my weight. Okay, I'm using my elbow here, and I'm putting all my weight on his rib cage, this way, leaning down, okay? What I'm going to do next is I'm going to switch my hips around this way, okay? And this leg is stopping him from coming back again. All right, then this foot turns in, right next to his back here, okay? And I'm going to sit down. Right? Never try to stand up and make space. Always just keep squatting down in this position. Okay? As I'm going down, he's still trying to turn out of it this way. So what I want to do is I want to clasp my hands, or whatever it takes, grab my own gi, make sure that you take your elbow to the chest this way. And once you have the elbow to the chest, then you can go for the arm. If you try to go right for the wrist, you're going to lose it because, again, remember, this has to all be tight in here. So make this tight, go for the wrist, get the arm bar. The last technique from standing to ground I'd like to show is a simple basic move, Taitoshi to Kesagatami, which is the throw into a pin. And once you get the pin, you can control your opponent and use other arm bars or chokes. It allows you to control your opponent for just a few seconds and then work other moves. Okay, from here, slow motion, your opponent goes over. Okay, as your opponent goes over, you're going to take your hand and come right underneath his head. Okay, this way. Okay, important thing is once you get this, you want to sit out as quick as possible. Because if you don't take your hips, okay, and throw them out on the mat, what's going to happen is as you're going over, he's going to keep following you. He's going to keep pulling you over this way. It happens a lot in competition where the person throwing throws him so hard and he gets into the hold down, and then the person just rolls him right over. So it's important that, number one, you're pulling on this arm, okay, to stop him from rolling in this direction. Okay. Two is as you come over and you get around the neck, you scoot your hips out. Okay. When you're holding or pinning him in this position, your weight wants to be in diagonal position. Always keep your head up. Okay. You don't have to squeeze your fist. This hand relaxes. Okay. You can either stay on the mat or you can put it in here. Okay. From this position, we can pull up, okay, which causes him to submit. We can take the arm, okay, arm lock right here, push down. Okay, and this opens up many different things for jiu-jitsu players to attack from. Let's look at these same applications without a gi, because a lot of times an opponent in a street fight or whatever situation you're in, you're not always going to have a gi. Sometimes they'll have a big jacket, which is just like a gi, and sometimes they won't. So I want to just show how the takedowns work without a gi. They're very effective. Basics are the same. The principles of off balancing are the same. It's just a matter of where you're gripping. Instead of gripping on the gi this time, I'm just going to grab his wrist. And what you want to do is grab the wrist here, okay, not with the forefinger here, but with the second finger and the third finger here. That makes a tighter grip. Okay, you don't want to squeeze too tight. It's the same as gripping a gi. When you grip a gi, you grip with 3 fingers. Here, it's just the same basic principle, these 3 fingers. Okay, that allows your opponent not to pull his wrist out. Okay, from here, what I'm going to do is instead of grabbing here with a gi, all I'm going to do is I'm going to underhook. Okay, the opponent, perhaps he's coming at you this way, and if he's coming this way, you're just going to come under here, under the shoulder. Okay, let's look at the throw. Okay, from here, again, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reverse my wrist grab from here to here. If I leave it this way, it's awkward. He could just pull it away. Okay, so I'm going to reverse to here. The knee stays the same. All the principles are the same. Knee stays the same. Okay, and all I do is grab his wrist, step over into the juji. Same principle. I've got him down here. Okay, if he starts to come through with this arm, I underhook it. Okay, grab him at the tricep or wherever you can. Okay, and from here, again, step across. This time I'm going to grab the wrist. Okay, let's look at this closer. Move here. Okay, this time, instead of just grabbing the gi, I'm going to grab the wrist, or you don't even have to grab the wrist. You can just come in here. Right? Pull it tight into your chest. Okay, from here, apply armbar. Another variation of the same move, Taotoshi, or side body drop, is this time, instead of even dealing with any of this area over here, I'm going to reach out, grab the wrist. Okay, you have this as protection right here. Okay, and from here, I'm going to come in. His arm's going to bend a little bit, and I'm going to throw him from this position. So let's look at that again. You're here. Instead of grabbing the gi, you grab the wrist, you pull him forward, he steps. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, instead of underhooking, okay, I'm just going to bring my forearm right into his elbow, right here, this way. So even if I don't have the wrist, as I'm pushing the wrist back, this is also pulling him off balance. So I've got 2 things pulling him off balance. Okay, again, once he comes down, switch the grip, and you're set for the armbar. Next technique that was very effective for me, especially in world and Olympic competition, was something called kouchigari. Kouchigari is an inside reap. Let me demonstrate 2 different ways to do it, and then we'll break it down in detail of what are the applications after kouchigari. Person hits the mat, how do you get into ground grappling? Okay, kouchigari, the basics of it is as the person, there's many different ways to do it, but these 2 applications, as the person's stepping forward, you're pulling him forward, okay? Now the reason you're pulling him forward is because you want to create this reaction. And as he pulls back, you kick his leg out, okay? You basically want to kick it out in the direction the toes pointing. Okay, one more time. Here, pull, kick out. Now, this is the position where we want to work from, okay? As soon as I throw him on the ground, he's going to get a hold of my leg here and grasp my leg. Okay, especially in a judo match, okay, because he doesn't want me to pin him. So the idea is, as you're going down, okay, you want to basically plant your elbow into his chest. Okay, now this creates that same control as if you had your knee in his chest. Okay, so as sit up, as he's coming down this way, you want to put all your weight right into his chest here. Now, before he can hook this leg, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise up and stick my knee, okay, scoop my knee right in between and over his leg. Okay, now I have his whole leg secured. From this position here, we're going to jump, boom, right into kesagatami, or a basic hold down in judo. Let's look at kouchigari into an osaikomi, another osaikomi pin. To go over the detail, as the opponent comes down, again, I want to keep this elbow right into his solar plexus to keep as much pressure on him before he turns over. Okay? It's not always that easy though. As he turns over this way, right, I want to maintain control of this grip here. He turns, right, I want to maintain control of this here, because this is stopping his body from turning over this way. I still can pull back. Okay, so that's very important. Second is I want to come underneath the arm this way and grab as much as possible. Sometimes you can get inside the lapel, but a lot of times you can't. So you just have to grab anything you can. Okay, so basically his shoulder is pinned against his head, okay, and there's a lot of pressure. Notice I'm using my chin here. Okay, if I don't use my chin, he's going to just roll out this way. Okay, so I have to use my chin to stop him from rolling that way. Okay, once I feel I have this secured, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move straight up into his head. And this part here, I'm going to put my shoulder, it's going to go right into his chin here. Okay, pushing up. And that creates a lot of pain, because basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all my weight of my whole body right into his chin. Okay, it's pretty excruciating pain, and a lot of times the reason we're doing this is because he has my leg trapped. Okay, already. So as I'm applying pressure to the chin, he's worried about the pressure here. He's going to let go, right, of the leg. As soon as he lets go of the leg, I high step out. The reason I high step is so when he comes to push into me, I can push back with this leg. Then I switch my hips. Here, hips down, legs spread apart. Next move is kouchigari to a jujigatame, basically standing to grappling into the armbar. Okay, in detail, as I get my opponent down to here, okay, again, he's going to be turning away from me. This hand, again, is very important that I control it right in here. Right here, right? Because as he turns, that leaves me a little bit of space to pull up. And that allows the space in here. If I didn't have this grip, this elbow would come in tight like this, and I wouldn't be able to get this hand in. So from here, he comes in, and then I reach and grab. Again, the pinky finger here is the best to hold on to. It's illegal to grab one finger, but you can grab them all. Okay, at that time, I release this. At the time I release this, I'm going to come up using my hand, okay? I'm going to push his head away and get my knee right against his head. Okay, so what I'm going to do is separate his head from his arm. Again, you need that separation for a juji to work. Here, okay, I kick, work my foot underneath this way. Then I'm just going to pull out and stretch up. Okay, so basically my hip is against his elbow joint. Okay, this way, pinky's up. And apply the pressure. You want to try to separate this as much as possible, okay, to get the arm. Don't let him pull this arm in, okay? Try to pull it out as much as possible here, okay? Post your head, bring your head underneath, work it out, arch your back. Let's look at kouchigari without the gi, because it changes a little bit of tactics. Again, the wrist is, for me, is the same as the gi. Okay, I can still grab his wrist as long as I'm grabbing it properly. I can control it here. You can't pull away. Okay. Next, instead of grabbing in on the lapel here, okay, coming in and pushing up as we do in normal judo here with the gi. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cup the back of his head, pull it down, and pull him forward. Because what that does is that creates a reaction of him lifting his head up. And as he lifts his head up, that's when I attack. Okay, so let's look at it. Okay. Now we're going to go into grappling techniques. Okay, from this position, okay, I basically want to secure this arm as quick as possible, right? So what I do is I just push it down in between my legs, okay? I can hook it, and I just control it with this leg here, and then if I can apply my arm bar, I'm just going to squeeze. Basically, this knee comes down, this knee comes up for the arm bar. But more importantly, it's not that easy to get this arm. But what this does here is that at least it controls this arm so he cannot hit you or use this arm to escape. So this is a good position where you can have strikes or just a good securing position until you move to your next move. If I cannot get this arm here, okay, say I come in, I throw him down, and he starts to turn on me this way. Then you just basically come in to a back position, right? You can come in for a choke. You have many options. What I like to do from here is if he turns this way, just hook this arm, come back into, kind of sit on his shoulder, come back into juji. Okay? Now because you have no gi here, right? You really have to make sure you sit on his right shoulder or his left shoulder here. Okay? I hook it. As I spin around here, I'm going to sit right on top of his head, right? Actually right on his shoulder with my knee on top of his head. Okay? Hold this elbow to the chest. It's very important. Right here. Okay, this is where you can really control your opponent. And then it's just a matter of patience, falling back, okay, just putting your knees together, going for the armbar. This next series of a different technique will land the opponent on his side. Before, what I was teaching is different types of moves, such as ko, uchi, or ouchi, that land your opponent here. So now I'm working from inside his leg position, or what they call inside the guard also. Now we're going to work differently, okay? Now I'm going to be attacking from this position. I'm not going to land inside his legs, but I'm going to be attacking from the side. And the first one I'm going to show is Nidan Ko Sorogar, okay, which is like a attack from the side into Jujigatami. Okay, to break this throw down, basically what I'm doing is, if my opponent is stepping forward here, okay, for instance in a judo match, he's right on left, okay, the way I want to get him down is I want to hook this leg here, okay, when he lifts it up, I'm going to step in closer and hook the back leg here, so he falls to the mat. As he falls to the mat, the most important thing is this, again, remember this lapel is control. He's going to try to turn out, and I've got to keep my knee in his back, okay, and also maintain this control. Okay, this is real important. Once I have this, then I can scoop underneath the arm, okay, sit back up, and get the arm here. Okay, let's look at this again. After he falls down, okay, I bring this knee here, let's turn around a little bit. Bring this knee here in tight. Okay, so this is basically creating this lock right here. Okay, and it stops him from turning in this direction. Okay, from here, then I'm going to scoop up, take the elbow, put it to my chest, and then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm never going to let go of this. I'm just going to come over the top. Okay, at the very last second, then I let go of the grip and get the arm. The last move we just did, the takedown went like this. This move here is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to have an over-the-top grip, okay, and I'm going to have a sleeve grip here. It goes something like this. Basically what's happening is I'm coming in, instead of 1, 2 as the last one, all I'm going to do is just kind of reach in and hook this foot, okay, ankle behind his ankle and my knees in front. Okay, so I use it like a lever to pull this foot up. Okay, so from here, I want to pull him into me, twisting his body this way. Right, because what's going to happen is if I don't pull here and I go to get this, he's just going to step out of it. Okay. So what I want to do is pull here, step in, knee down, okay? Now all I'm going to do is just kind of sit back and kick up. So here. Now he's in the right position to go right into osai komi, into this position here. Okay? The key of this move is that you definitely control this arm here. Okay, and as he comes down, right, you don't let this go, because if you let this go, he's going to get out of it. So from here, as soon as you go down, you want all your weight right on this shoulder here, so he can't turn out. Okay, so you just hooked his foot, you both landed. Okay, now if he comes to turn into you, you lean in with your shoulder, right? I've got my shoulder here. I'm pushing against his chin, okay? And all my weight is basically right here. My weight's here. My chin is locked in still, this way. So I want to maintain this control as much as possible. Okay, one more time. You're here. Down, maintain the control. Here, and now from here we could go right into the tate shio, right? Or they call mounting position. A variation of that same basic takedown, kosorogari. Now we're going to do kosorogake. Gake means kind of a reap, okay? Where instead of hooking or sweeping his leg out, I'm going to come in and lock it, okay? And reap him and take him back. Okay, on this particular one, we're going to take an overhand grip. Okay, I'm going to look for the right timing. Okay, what I want to do really is I want to pull him a little forward so he reacts backwards. Okay, so I'm going to kind of push him forward. As he reacts, you can see his head comes up. I come in, hook this leg here, okay, and stay super tight into his body, pulling this, holding this into his stomach. Okay, so in slow motion, you're in here, okay, this way. Boom. As he comes down, again, you end up in that same grip where you're controlling this shoulder right here, okay, right here. You want to maintain that control, okay, because if you lose this, then he escapes. And then from here, we can move into this position here, okay. If he tries to escape and he starts to escape too much, right, we can come over, hook the arm and bring it back to juji. Okay, one important thing about this move is as I'm controlling my opponent's shoulder, and as I hook this leg here, okay, when I come down and bring him down on the ground, here, as soon as I hit the ground, right, I want to quickly switch my hips. Because if I stay in this position, he's going to probably just roll right on top of me. So from here, the minute, just sit up, the minute I'm coming down this way, this leg here has to come back and switch. Okay, it's very important to maintain the balance. And also, you go right into a pin, or osaikomi, where you can hold your opponent and move into various chokes and arm bars. Let's look at that same technique, kosodo gake, without gi, because this changes a lot of things. Number one, I don't have this grip to control his arm, and two, I don't have the back, okay, grip here to control. So to eliminate that, what we're going to do is we're just going to come straight inside this way, okay? Still going to hook this leg here, and instead we're just going to kind of bear hug him, right? This way, and then do the move. So from here. Okay. Another variation to that is if I can overhook this elbow here, okay? Overhook and wrist grab. Here, okay? Same thing, I'm gonna step in this way, and this time I'm just gonna shoot this straight up this way. Okay, so again, the principle is, once you're on the mat, okay, you have to maintain control. So obviously I can't hold on to this bear hug the whole way down, so I let that go. I scoop this arm here. Okay, this stops him from turning into me. Okay, and then I'm posting this arm down. As he turns away, I can use my body weight. My hips have to maintain their posture on the ground. And I can control him from this position here, where I can shift into my hold down into armbar, control this leg. Okay, and then I have the various techniques from this position. The next technique is osorogari, it's a basic leg reap. Okay, now we're getting into a whole new area where instead of landing as the last move, okay, instead of landing on this side of your opponent, okay, as he goes down, you're controlling from this side. Now it's a whole another series where you're going to land on the other side. Let me demonstrate osoro into a hold down first, and then I'll explain in detail. Okay, this is osotogari into a basic hold up. Okay. I've seen many people try osotogari from different martial arts. Main thing is you want to remember is you don't want to just, it's not really just a leg trip, okay? It's much more than that. Your whole body has to come basically through your opponent, blast right through your opponent to the other side, and then your head and your foot come down at the same time. Okay, it's much more explosive and it gets the opponent to the ground much quicker. Now, as you can see, my whole body weight, boom, landed right onto his chest and his stomach. A lot of times this will, he'll lose his breath, okay? But in that split second, when he feels your whole body on top of him, that's when you have to slip right into the kesakatami, okay? Or the head hold here, okay? Head and arm hold. Now let's look at some more advanced techniques to bring your opponent from osotogari into a grappling position. Okay, in most Olympic or international competitions, what really happens is as you come in and you throw your opponent down to the ground, they immediately try to spin out of the throw this way. So as soon as he starts to spin, you have to hook this arm, okay? Now this is very important in controlling your opponent from making any other move. The secret to this is the fact that I have my elbow, okay, is right in the back, is in the lower or mid-range back, okay, right below his shoulder. Okay, so I'm hooking the elbow with my wrist to his elbow. My elbow's right in that spot, okay? And as he tries to roll out of it, all I have to do is just kind of sit back and bring my pressure down on that elbow. Okay, from this point, when you feel that you have this pressure, what you're going to do is you're going to change arms, okay? This leg's going to come over, and you're going to switch and shoot this other arm through here. Okay, this is the second most important part, where both your knees, okay, are squeezing his head together. Okay, this knee is on the back. Okay, it's right here. Okay, and the front knee is right here. So basically, you've got him trapped on the side. You still have this locked in here. Okay, your arm's coming through, switching arms. Next, you're going to take your knee and put it right down onto his bicep. Here. Okay, what that does is that just pins his whole body to the mat. Okay, and from next thing is you're going to come out, bring this leg back, and come underneath, grab the lapel. Because the main thing is you want this head control here. And it's very simple. Once you get this lapel, as the opponent turns into you, right, all you do is push up. He turns in, push up. So your wrist can control his whole head, his whole body. Because where his head goes, his body follows. So if you can control this, you can secure him in a position, okay, in a hold down, or control his arm, or an arm bar. Let's look at this position one more time in detail and apply a different technique. We're in the same position, your knees are tight, okay, your elbow's still in the back of his shoulder, okay. This time, instead of coming through, threading the needle, what we call in this, and coming around, what we're going to do is from here, we're just going to reach down, grab the wrist, okay, and my wrist, figure four his arm, this way, okay. Now instead of pinning him, what we're going to do is we're going to pop his arm off this way, and we're going to come back here for a kansetsuwaza or armbar. Okay, a lot of times he'll be grabbing his belt, holding onto his belt. Okay, it's impossible to go right into the armbar because he's got such a good grip on his belt. So you want to grab here, pull it away first, and then twist and go behind until he taps. Let's look at osotogari without a gi. Again, this is my favorite wrist grip here. It replaces the the holding onto the gi, okay? If there's any kind of jacket or whatever, you can grip that, but this is just as good, okay? Or if you can get in close, this is even better, behind the bicep, and then trap his arm in between. But let's just take this basic move here. Instead of coming with a gi here and holding here, you have two options, basically. One is you just come in and with a palm strike straight up here. Where his head goes, his body follows, okay? So we're coming in here, straight up, hook, okay, and down. Personally, I feel you have to be very quick to be able to get that. And I think a little bit more simpler one is if you grab here, basically you're going to do the same thing as I was doing with a gi, except you're just going to let your hand extend, okay? And you're going to hit his throat with your shoulder. Here, or your bicep is going to pop right into his throat. And what that does is it creates a little bit more control on top, and it allows you to use your whole body to throw the person. Because again, Oso de Gar is not just a leg, it's your whole body. Let's look at this throw here. Again, once you're down on the ground, you keep the control with the weight. If you don't have a gi, it's very important to know how to position your body, right? If your hips are way out here, okay, it's easy for him to just turn it in and escape. Okay, so your hips have to be close into your opponent, okay? Very close, right next to his side. And you don't really need a gi in this hold down to control his body. All it is weight. I'm leaning toward this direction here, diagonally. So if Rio tries to escape here, I relax my body, right? It's kind of like a sack of rice. If he goes this way, I'm just going to relax down. If he comes into me, I'm just going to shift up. Okay, this is the key. The key to holding someone down and pinning him and controlling him is the balance and using your weight. Okay, this last series is going to be stemewaza, which is a sacrifice technique. Sacrifice means basically that you're putting your back to the mat before you're throwing your opponent. These moves are designed for attacks which you must be very confident to apply this technique, because if you miss, you're basically going to land on your back and you have to be very good at grappling. So usually the guys who are most confident in grappling are going to attack these types of moves. First one is a sumigaeshi. Okay, to break this down, I'm grabbing this gi here. I'm going to come over the back, grab far lat, okay? Much gi as I can. I'm going to control opponent by putting my temple in his forehead, okay? Stepping straight in. I'm going to step in and sit down, kick this leg up, and immediately, as soon as he goes over, I'm going to shoot this hand behind his back, or behind his neck, right here. And this leg follows up right into a tate shio. Okay, when we're in this position, okay, where most guys lose this is they don't control this arm. They'll let him go and they'll just spin right out of this move. So as soon as you come down to this position, you have to hold this arm tight, okay? Hold it tight. As he moves, you stop him from turning in. And then immediately, so as soon as you feel you stop them, then you shoot your arm straight up, around his neck, into the hole.
Action.
Okay, let's look at that move again. This time, I'm going to come up right onto my knees. Okay, let's look at that. Last time I was here, I went right into the tate shio. This time, as soon as my opponent lands, I'm going to switch my hips this way, okay, and hook this arm here. Again, the control comes from having his elbow in your chest, okay? Now as he turns away this way, I'm going to sink my elbow in again, just like in the last series, and sink our elbow in here, okay? Now in order to bring him back to me, all right, in simple moves so I don't lose him. If I try to come up on him and come into a pin, a lot of times, as soon as I release this pressure, he turns out of it. So what I like to do from here is hook tight as he's spinning away, reach down, grab the inside lapel, okay? Just as you're gonna choke him. And I use this, not really to choke him so much, but just to pull him back, here. And once he's in this position, okay, then I can switch and come into osaikomi, or pin. Very important, once you're here, as he starts to roll on you like this, even if he rolls this far, you still haven't lost him. Okay, what I want to do is I want to take my stomach, okay, put my stomach right to the mat here. As he keeps rolling and rolling, I keep arching. Okay, now I'm going to just reach in, grab as deep as I can. Now what I do is I just put my elbow pressure right onto his head. See, and that brings his whole body back. Okay, it's kind of subtle, but you have to not give up on it. A lot of guys, as soon as they roll this far, they'll let this go. Okay, as soon as you're here, reach in, grab the inside lapel, and now it's not a matter of my body bringing him back, it's a matter of my arm pressure against his head, squeezing tight right onto his ear, right, and rotating back this way until he comes back to me. Again, from this position, let me just go into a little bit more detail. Again, your elbows back behind here. Now, as he starts to roll forward this way, okay, a lot of times what you can do is you can put your hand right down onto the mat, okay? And what I do is I have my elbow kind of inside his shoulder, so he can't, as he's trying to budge, he can't go anymore. This allows me enough time, okay, to reach inside and grab that lapel, right? Now if he goes any further, he's choking himself, okay? So he doesn't want to turn that way anymore. So from this position here, if you feel like all of a sudden you're losing him, all you have to do is come up here and place your knee, okay, against the side of his head here, and just squeeze your legs, and that's a different choke. Okay, so from here, he goes to roll, I post, I reach down, grab the lapel, step over, choke. Okay, this next move is tomoe-nage, which is, again, a sacrifice. I'm putting my back to the ground first and then flipping my opponent over. It's very famous as far as you see it a lot in the movies, and basically there's a couple different ways to do it. You can do it straight back or to the side. Yoko means side, so my certain style I do it from the side. Okay, let's break it down into a detail. Basically, as your opponent is moving, he's stepping 1, okay, 2. On the second one, I'm going to shoot down and turn my hip sideways. That's why it's called a side movement. Okay, I'm sideways to him. I'm going to stick my foot right in his hip bone here, or hip pocket. Okay, I'm going to kick out and I'm going to pull this arm in. This way. And I immediately come on top, okay, because the motion, the fulcrum, lands me right into this position, of course, which is a great position for a grappler, okay? From this position, I have options of just pinning him, osaikomi, right? Also, from this position, grab my own gi and apply a shimiwaza choke. Okay, I have an armbar here. Okay, so there's various things I can do from this position. I guess the most important thing is as I'm flipping the opponent over here, okay, I have to keep control of this sleeve. Okay, if I let go, I'm gonna lose him. So as he comes over to the side, this way, I keep control of this sleeve and pull my body right on top. First thing I should do, okay, first thing I should do is come underneath this arm. Because if I don't, he's going to bear hug me this way, okay? And he's going to start to push me up and up and up and try to escape, okay? So as soon as I come underneath, as soon as I land, come underneath, okay? Push this arm up, straight, push it over into osaikomi or hold down. Okay, this next move, tomoe-nage into an armbar. This time, instead of taking him straight back into the tomoe-nage, straight over, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to slide my foot to the outside and basically miss the technique, okay? Now his arm straightens out because he's stopping me from the fall, or he's stopping himself from the fall. At that point, I want to grab the wrist, okay? I still have control here, right, with this lapel. I want to take this arm, take this leg, put it straight over, slide my hips through into the armbar. Okay, it's very important that when you apply this technique, right, you pull the opponent into you. Okay, because by pulling him into you, he's going to straighten his arm out and try to get away. Right, and as he gets away, and then you apply the technique. Okay, here, grab the wrist, leg comes over. I'm still holding on to this lapel. Leg comes over. I maintain that lapel control until I feel I have complete control. And then I let go and pull up. Okay, last technique is basically what they call a flying armbar, and it's takedown to right into an armbar. Basically, you're securing the armbar on the way down, and by the time the opponent hits the mat, usually they give up, but if you have to apply it, then you just apply the regular juji katana. Let's look at it. Okay, quickly in detail, it's very hard to show this move in slow motion. So basically what I'm doing is I'm securing the lapel and the sleeve. I'm waiting for my opponent to bend over. Okay, as soon as I see him bend over, this knee jumps and goes right into, okay, the chest and right underneath the arm. And then I roll. Okay, on my way down, I've already secured this. Okay, about halfway up, I've already secured this. Okay, now I'm going to just keep this pulling arm in tight. Okay. As he rolls, my leg comes down, makes him roll, and I'm still controlling this arm to the arm bar. Again, I have this lapel also, okay, which I'm pulling him in tight to eliminate the space. Squeeze my knees together, arm bar.